An Aajtak exclusive. I'm being joined by the U.S. Ambassador to India, Ambassador Eric Garcetti. Many thanks for joining us here on Aajtak.
Great to be with you.
Let's begin with the G20 summit. What are your expectations, the big takeaways? You've been in a lot of meetings, your officials have been in a lot of meetings, but the challenges for India are many, particularly to do with the outcome document. Do you see an outcome document or the objections from China, from Russia? How is that going to play out?
Well, first of all, India's leadership has been wonderful. To show off this country, to bring so many people here, I've been so impressed with India's leadership. But secondly, I think you'll see real substance and you'll see values. How those play out, we don't know yet. But the values are that we stand up for principles we believe in. Women's empowerment, anti-poverty, health, but also for us, the invasion of other countries, that there should not be a world of aggression and violence. But that shouldn't stop us from working on all of the things that we've prioritized, whether it's the environment and climate, whether it's looking at the world economy, whether it's looking at debt for countries in the developing world. I think you're going to see substance that couldn't have happened if we didn't have months and months of meetings that have been very successful, curated by India, across India, and I'm very optimistic that we'll see some good things come out.
In terms of objections, if you could just detail out what are the objections that China has raised, or for that matter, Russia, when it comes to the text of the outcome document?
Well, it depends. At different times, both have raised issues with the language that reflects what there was a consensus last year in Bali on, which is that there can be a footnote for those countries or country, but that the rest of the world clearly sees aggression, knows aggression, and stands against aggression. Then you move on to the rest of the substance, because even a war of aggression shouldn't stop us from talking about health, the economy, looking at the climate, and other strategic considerations. So we are hopeful that that will be the formula that will be successful. It's on the chair's responsibility to bring that together, but I have a high level of confidence that India's relationships with multiple nations can bring that together. And I hope that other countries will defer to India's leadership. When you host, you should be able to bring some priorities. Whether it's the Prime Minister's Life Initiative that looks at the way our behavior affects the environment, or the focus you've had on a digital public infrastructure, and looking at the ways you can empower people even at the lowest economic levels by new technology.
Is there a bilateral that has been set up for President Biden with Prime Minister Modi?
The schedule is not set yet. I expect there to be one. There's such a warmth and friendship. There's, I think, going to be 5 to 6 times our leaders are together, face-to-face, this year alone. I know the President's very excited to see the Prime Minister, especially here in India. He's been here many times, but this is the first time he's coming as President of the United States. So I expect not only do they want to see each other, but I know behind the scenes we're working on an agenda as ambitious almost as the state visit in deliverables on education, on defense, on our 2 new consulates, on visas, on technology, and those things really that our people care about and need us to continue the progress.
You just mentioned defense. So on the bilateral front, the GE jet engine deal, where does it stand? We know that the notification has been sent by the administration to the Congress. Will it go through? Will it be approved?
Well, it's gone from good news to being on the verge of great news. Over this weekend, Monday, Indian time, we'll wake up and it doesn't look like there have been any objections, nor will there be from Congress. And I think when you saw the congressional delegation come here, you had Republicans and Democrats. In the United States, they don't agree on much these days. They agree on India. In some ways, India unites us in the same way that America unites many Indians. There's a bipartisan consensus, so I think that we will see great happen next week.
Okay, great happen next week, but there is another area of a bit of a concern for India, which is that the Hawar Rana extradition case, 3 years and counting. Will he be extradited? Home Minister Amit Shah said it on the floor of the House in Parliament that we are looking at an extradition, but a U.S. court stayed the extradition.
That wasn't unexpected, and I'll let the legal process play out. But we've had great cooperation. In years past, we didn't always cooperate closely enough, and sometimes those extraditions didn't occur or cases didn't go forward because this is an unprecedented era of Indian law enforcement and American law enforcement working together on counterterrorism, drugs, gangs, other things where they've worked really well together, but we hadn't always. Now it's a new day. And so we've always thought it was likely it would go to the final court. That will happen, I think, October. His lawyers give the argument in November. Our government will respond, and we do believe that people need to pay the price, and we do believe in this extradition.
And you're confident that it'll happen?
I'm not in the courts, but I would be surprised if it doesn't.
Okay. And finally, the India-China bilateral talks took place, pull aside an informal conversation, but on the ground we've not seen major breakthrough. How is the United States of America looking at Chinese aggression at the borders with India?
Well, we're India's friend, and we're here to support India as we have in the past, whether it's the border or other places strategically that India asks for our help. And we engage with China as well, but we will not sell our principles, and you don't sell your principles for those engagements. We want good relations with China. We want stability in those relationships. But as your own leaders have said, there are certain lines, both literal and figurative, that need to be dealt with, and we're incredibly supportive of that. We never look at engagement as a bad thing. That's for two countries other than us to do, but we support that, and we support our friend in any way that they need.
Ambassador Garcetti, many thanks for joining us here on Aaj Tak. Thank you so much.
Great to be with you.
With video journalist Satya Rautre in New Delhi, this is Geeta Mohan for Aaj Tak.